Hello friends, welcome to Learner's Planet. Friends, in this session we will discuss about some special pair of angles. In the previous session also we have discussed about the special pair of angles and we discussed about adjacent angles, linear pair, complementary angles, supplementary angles, angle bisectors, etc. Okay, in this session we'll be discussing about transversal lines and angles made by transversal line, parallel lines and conditions for parallelism and all that. Okay, so let's begin the session, and I would recommend you just revise the previous session before coming to this session. Okay, so let's begin the journey. Now first of all, let's discuss about transversal lines. Now what is a transversal line? A line that cuts across two or more lines and has only one point in common with each of those lines is called a transversal. Okay, now in these diagrams we can see that this is a line and this is a line. Maybe this line is P and this is line Q. Okay, so these are the two lines and the third line is intersecting both of them. Okay, so we call it as a transversal. Okay, that means a third line which is intersecting two lines at only one point. Okay, that means intersection of this line and this line is this, and intersection of this line and this line is this. Okay, similarly we can see over here these are two lines and the third line is intersecting both of them. So this is known as transversal. So this and this, both of them are transversal. Now we will be discussing angles made by a transversal with the two lines. Okay. Now there are various angles formed when a transversal intersect two lines. Okay. We can call them corresponding angles, exterior angles, co-interior angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles. Okay, so let's discuss them one by one. Now here we see two lines and this is a transversal that is intersecting both of them. Now when a transversal cuts two lines, 8 angles are formed. Okay, and we have given some special names to that these angles. Okay, now first of all, just initially we give them the name as angle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. These are the 8 angles which are formed when a transversal cuts two lines. Okay. Now just listen to me very carefully. First of all, let's discuss what are exterior angles. Here we can see angle 1, 2, 7 and 8. All of these are exterior angles. Okay. So angle 1, angle 2, angle 7 and angle 8. These are exterior angles. Okay. Now let's discuss co-interior angles. Now we see angle 3, 4, 5 and 6. All of them are lying between the lines, these two lines. So we call them co-interior angles. So angle 3, angle 4, angle 5 and angle 6. These are lying between the lines. So we call them co-interior angles. Okay. Angle 1, 2, 7 and 8 are lying outside the lines, and angle 3, 4, 5, 6 are lying inside the lines. So angle 1, 2, 7, 8 are called exterior angles since they are lying outside the lines, and angle 3, 4, 5, 6 are called co-interior angles since they are lying inside the lines. Okay. Now let's discuss alternate interior angles. Now let's see what are alternate interior angles. Now, the pair of angles which lie in the interior of lines and also lie on the opposite sides of the transversal are called alternate interior angles. Here we see angle 3 and 5. They are lying inside the line, but they are lying opposite of this transversal. Okay, so we call them alternate interior angles. So angle 3 and angle 5 is a pair of alternate interior angles. Similarly, angle 4 and angle 6 is also a pair of alternate interior angles. Angle 4 and 6, they are lying inside the lines and they are on the opposite sides of the transversal. Okay. For conveniency, just look at here very carefully. We see a shape of English letter Z. Okay. I just changed the color. You can see a shape of Z over here. So this is the shape of Z, this angle and this angle, that is angle 4 and angle 6. These are alternate interior angles. Similarly, we see a shape of Z over here also, like this. So this angle and this angle, both of them are alternate interior angles. So you can memorize it like this. Okay. Now let's discuss alternate exterior angles. Now, the pair of angles which lie in the exterior and also lie on the opposite sides of transversal are called alternate exterior angles. Okay, the pair of angles which lie in the exterior, that means we can call angle 2 and angle 8. They are lying exterior of these two lines, okay, and they are on the opposite sides. So we call them alternate exterior angles. So angle 2 and angle 8, they form a pair of alternate exterior angles, and similarly angle 1 and angle 7. You see, they are on the opposite sides of this transversal and they are lying on the exterior of these two lines. So angle 1 and angle 7, they form a pair of alternate exterior angles, and angle 2 and angle 8, they also form a pair of alternate exterior angles. Okay. Now let's discuss parallel lines. Friends, two lines, if they are in any plane, they will either intersect at one point or they will not intersect at all. Okay, so here we are going to discuss about the lines which are not going to intersect at all. And the lines that do not intersect at all are called parallel lines. We see a diagram over here. If you just extend these lines to any length, they are not going to intersect anywhere in the plane. Okay, so we call them a pair of lines. This is called as parallel lines. Okay, so now we are going to discuss the properties of angles made by transversal with two parallel lines. Okay, as we have discussed the angles made by a transversal with any two lines, now these two lines we are taking as parallel lines, and we are going to consider about the angles made by transversal with two parallel lines. Okay, so let's begin. Now here we see two parallel lines. We call it as line AB, and this is line CD, and this is a transversal that is intersecting them, and we call it as line PQ. Now we have already discussed when a transversal is intersecting two lines, 8 angles are formed. Okay, here line AB is parallel to line CD, and these are the 8 angles which are going to be formed. Suppose this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay, we consider the point of intersection as M and N. Okay, now we have already discussed which type of angles will be formed. Now we will be taking the special case of parallel lines. So first of all, let's discuss corresponding angles. Friends, we see angle 1 and angle 5. We can see angle 2 and angle 6. We can see angle 4 and angle 8. And angle 3 and angle 7. Now what's special about them? You can see angle 5 and angle 1. Both of them are lying on the same side of the parallel lines. Okay, so in this case they are lying on the upper side of the parallel lines. Similarly, angle 2 and 6, they are also lying on the same side of the parallel lines. Okay, angle 4 and 8, both of them are lying on the same side and they are lying below the parallel lines. Similarly, angle 3 and 7, both of them are lying on the same side of the parallel lines and they are lying below the parallel lines. So we call them pair of corresponding angles. So angle 1 and angle 5, this is a pair of corresponding angles. Angle 2 and angle 6, it is a pair of corresponding angles. Similarly, angle 4 and 8, they are also forming a pair of corresponding angles. And angle 3 and angle 7, they are also forming a pair of corresponding angles. And the most important thing over here is when the two lines are parallel, their corresponding angles are same. Okay, the value of these angles is equal. That means angle 1 will be equal to angle 5, angle 2 will be equal to angle 6, angle 4 will be equal to angle 8, and angle 3 will be equal to angle 7. Okay, so suppose you are asked about angle 1, then you can quickly say then angle 1 and angle 5, both of them will be same. If you are given the value of angle 1, that will be quite same with angle 5. Okay, or if you are given with the value of angle 2, then it will be same as angle 6. Okay, we will be solving the problems based on this property. Now let's take alternate angles. Friends, we have just discussed about alternate angles, alternate interior angles and alternate exterior angles. Now we just apply the case of alternate angles on the parallel lines. If two parallel lines are intersected by a transversal like this, then the angles of each pair of alternate angles are equal. Okay, now how do we find out the pair of alternate angle? We can see the shape of Z over here. So this is a shape of Z. So angle 4 and angle 6. This is a pair of alternate angles and both of them will be equal in the case of parallel lines. So this we can see the shape of Z. So angle 4 is equal to angle 6, angle 3 is equal to angle 5, angle 2 is equal to angle 8, it's alternate exterior angles, and angle 1 is equal to angle 7, they are also alternate exterior angles. So these are alternate interior angles and these are alternate exterior angles. Okay, So we, as a whole, we call them alternate angles. So in the case of parallel lines, alternate angles will be equal. Okay. Now the third thing is, if two parallel lines are intersected by a transversal like this, then the sum of interior angles of the same side of transversal is 180 degree. Here we see angle 3 and angle 6. Okay, these are interior angles. Okay, they are lying between the lines and they are on the same side of this transversal. That means both of them are on the right side of this transversal, and angle 3 plus angle 6 will be 180 degree. Okay, and we call them interior angles. Similarly, angle 4 plus angle 5 will also be 180 degree, since they are lying on the same side of transversal, that is left hand side, and they are lying between the lines. So angle 4 plus angle 5 is 180 degree, angle 3 plus angle 6 is 180 degree, and we call them interior angles, and sum of interior angles is 180 degree, which are lying on the same side. Okay. Friends, we have just discussed properties of angles made by transversal with two parallel lines, and we discussed about corresponding angles, they will be same. We discussed about alternate angles, they will also be same, and we discussed about interior angles on the same side, and we found out that the sum will be 180 degree. Okay, now apart from that, we have to establish the conditions for parallelism. Now, how could we say that the given two lines are parallel? Okay, so to prove that the given two lines are parallel, we need to establish, or we need to prove some conditions. Okay, now if a transversal cuts two lines, as we see over here, okay, and their corresponding angles are equal, that means the angles on the same side are equal, their alternate angles are equal, and sum of their interior angle is 180 degree, then we call the lines as parallel. Okay, that means what are the three conditions of parallelism? One is corresponding angles should be equal. Second, alternate angle are equal, and the third is sum of interior angles on the same side is 180 degree. Okay, if two lines which are being intersected by a third transversal, then and simultaneously if they fulfill all these three conditions, then we call these two lines as parallel. Okay, so I hope you are clear with the basic concepts of parallel lines. Now let's do some problems based on them. Friends, till now we have discussed about various types of angles or various pairs of angles: complementary, linear pair, vertically, adjacent, alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, and interior angles. Now we are just having a quick recap of all these pair of angles. Okay, and by doing all these problems we will be having the recap. Okay, so let's begin to do the problem, and be very quick in answering the questions. Here we see the first one. We have to find out the relationship over here between A and B. Okay, so A and B, which type of angle is this? It's an we can call them a pair of adjacent angles, since they are having a common arm and they are having a common vertex. So A and B here are adjacent angles. I just write as small short form. Okay, here A and B we see an X over here, and A and B will be here vertically opposite. Okay. So A and B will be vertically opposite angles and both of them will be equal. So angle A will be equal to angle B. Now here we can see these are two parallel lines. This is a symbol of, this arrow shows that the lines are parallel. So these are two parallel lines and it is they are being intersected by this third line, that is transversal. Now we have to say the relationship between A and B. Now we have already discussed about alternate exterior angles. Okay, now what are alternate exterior angles? The pair of angles which lie in the exterior and also on the opposite side of transversal. Okay, so they are lying on the opposite side of this transversal. B is on the left side and A is on the right side, and they are lying on the exterior of parallel lines. So we call them alternate exterior angles. So it's alternate exterior. Okay, so just be very clear about it. Similarly, we see over here angle A and angle B. These are adjacent angles since they are sharing a common arm and they have a common vertex. So it's adjacent. Okay. Now here we see angle A and angle B. Angle A and B is a pair of adjacent angles, and since they are lying on a straight line, this complete angle will be 180 degree. So we call angle A and angle B as linear pair. Okay, I hope you are getting my point and you are able to recap the basic properties. Now see here, these are two parallel lines and these two angles, that is angle A and angle B, they are lying on the same side of the parallel lines. So both of them are above the parallel lines. So angle A will be equal to angle B and we will call them corresponding angle. Okay. Now here angle A and angle B, they are having a common arm and they are having a common vertex. So these are adjacent angles, and similarly along with that we see a sign of 90 degree or right angle over here. That means angle A plus angle B is 90 degree. So we can call them as adjacent. Apart from that, we can call them complementary angles. Okay, so angle A and angle B is they are adjacent as well as complementary. Similarly over here we can say angle A and angle B will be adjacent since they are having common arm and common vertex, and angle A plus angle B is 90 degree. Further over here we see the sign of right angle over here, so they are complementary also. Okay, now further we see a shape of X over here. So angle A and angle B will be vertical angles and angle A will be equal to angle B. Okay, here angle A and angle B will be adjacent angles, and since they are on the straight line, they are called as linear pair. Okay, here we see two parallel lines and angle A and angle B, both of them are on the same side of parallel lines, that is below the parallel lines. So angle A will be equal to angle B and they will be corresponding angle. Okay, here we see angle A and angle B, they are lying on the opposite side of the transversal and both of them are lying in the interior of the lines. So we call them alternate interior angles. Okay, we see a shape of Z over here. So this angle will be equal to this angle. Just see over here. This angle will be equal to this angle and this angle will be equal to this angle. Okay, so angle A equal to angle B and we call them as alternate angles. Okay, and in this particular case both of them are lying in the interior of the lines, so we call them alternate interior angles. Okay, now in this case angle A and angle B, both of them are lying on the same side of the parallel lines. That means both of them are below the parallel lines. So angle A will be equal to angle B and they will be corresponding angle. Okay. Now in this question, angle A and angle B, they are lying on the opposite side of the transversal and they are lying on the exterior of the parallel lines. So we call them alternate exterior angles. Okay. And angle A will be equal to angle B. Okay. Since the lines are parallel. Here in this case, angle A and angle B, we see two parallel lines over here and this is the transversal, and angle A and angle B, both of them are inside the parallel lines and on the opposite side of the transversal. So we call them alternate angles. Okay, in this case they will be alternate interior angles and angle A will be equal to angle B since these two lines are parallel. Okay, so it's alternate interior angles. Okay, here we see these two lines are parallel and this is the line which is intersecting both of them. So angle A and angle B, they are on the opposite side of transversal. Do not get confused by the shape of the lines. Okay, so here angle A and angle B, these are on the opposite side of the transversal and they are inside the parallel lines. So further, angle A will be equal to angle B and they are alternate interior angles. We can see a shape of Z over here, this. Okay, and this. It's like this. So it's angle A and it's angle B. So we see a shape of Z, that is Z is being rotated at 180 degree. So it's A and it's B. So both of them will be equal and we call them as alternate interior angles. Okay. Now in this case we see these two lines are parallel and angle A and angle B, they are on the opposite sides of this transversal. So angle A and angle B will be equal and they are alternate exterior angles. Okay, since they are on the opposite side of the transversal and they are on the exterior of the lines. Okay, here these two lines are parallel and this is a line which is intersecting them, or we can call it as a transversal. Angle A and angle B, both of them are on the opposite sides of this transversal and they are lying inside the lines. So further, angle A will be equal to angle B and they are alternate interior angles. Clear? Further, here these two lines are parallel and angle A and angle B, both of them are on the same side and they will be called as corresponding angle. Okay, here angle A and angle B, these are adjacent angles since they are having this common arm and this common vertex. It's a common arm and it's a common vertex. So A and B will be adjacent angles. Okay. Friends, I hope you might have enjoyed this session. We'll be discussing similar problems in our next session. In fact, we will be doing numericals or numeric based problems in our next session. Okay, so do revise this session and you should be clear about all the pair of angles which we have discussed in this session and the previous session. Okay, bye-bye.